Well, today is day 64. Welcome to it. Hiking with Creek again today. We're hiking into Pine Grove Furnace on the way to a campsite or a shelter on beyond it. But Pine Grove Furnace is where a lot of people do the half-gallon challenge, which is it's a halfway point of the AT. So people try to eat a half-gallon ice cream. If you do, they give you a little commemorative wooden spoon. I'm not going to do it. But I might have a cheeseburger and fries or something like that there at the snack bar. Then we'll go on to a campsite. In about 2, maybe 3 days, I have a resupply package in Boiling Springs, which the trail goes right through. And I have to figure out where to send my next resupply package. I may have to send that to Duncannon. I need to figure on that a little bit and get on that today. But we're starting down the trail. The shelter was really nice. They actually had... I think I showed you this last night, but they actually had hammock poles here that I could set up. It's the first shelter I've been at that had that. So I slept quite good last night and looking for a good day. My feet have been hurting a little bit with climbing over all these rocks, but they feel a lot better this morning than they did last night. So we're gonna work at 13 to 15 miles today, depending on how we feel like coming out of Pine Grove Furnace. So this shelter has lots of camping areas and tent pads, and there was, oh my goodness, probably 10-15 people here last night. So anyway, we're going to get on down the trail. We're here at the Pine Grove Furnace General Store. This is the site of where some people try to eat a half-gallon ice cream for the half-gallon challenge. Not happening with me today. I've got a cheeseburger and fries ordered, and they're big. So anyway, just kind of a stop along the trail and chance to take a break, catch up with some other hikers. So back there at the general store, one of the hikers' grandparents had set up some trail magic. And so from the trail magic I had 2 bananas, some watermelon, a vitamin water, and an energy drink, and a couple of donut puffs. And then from the grill I had a massive cheeseburger and an order of fries, and I think it's given me some energy. We had a kind of a, it's not a bad climb, it's just a gradual uphill for a number of miles, and they've been clicking off pretty easy. I seem to find that bananas seem to be my magic food for getting going, and that energy drink, it was had some caffeine in it, and so that's maybe kick-started me a little bit. But got a few miles to go. We're 6.5 miles in, so probably not quite halfway for the day. After this uphill gets completed, then it's a long gradual downhill. So the terrain here in southern Pennsylvania is rather gentle. Sometimes rocky, but rather gentle, which is kind of nice for a change. Maryland was very rocky, gentle terrain, but pretty rocky. But Pennsylvania is going to turn on us here in a few days, and it's just going to be non-stop rocks for 100 miles. So it is what it is. Here's the trail, more laurel, walking through the continuous laurel tunnel. Started blooming maybe a month ago or 6 weeks ago down in southern central Virginia, and just keep following spring. A little too late for rhododendron here, so the rhododendron show is already over. So there was rhododendron yesterday, day before, but they had already bloomed. So that's what we got. This is Kind of a nice trail. This will make 5th day in a row without any zeros. Running pretty close to 15 miles a day, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more. I'm not sure what today will be. Probably 14 point something, close to 15, and then I think tomorrow, just have to check. I think tomorrow I might be in Boiling Springs to get my resupply box. And then we're on our way to Duncannon, which is maybe another 2 days. And Duncannon is where the rocks start, near Duncannon. And then our mileage is going to have to go backward. Can't do 15 over rocks, I don't think. 12 might be optimistic, 10 might be realistic. So, you have to have little things that motivate you on the trail. And so, kind of want to prove that I can do the rocks of Rocksylvania. Even though my foot's been a little bit sore, maybe that I'll get to Duncannon and either probably take a zero, I don't know, and then start in again in earnest. We'll see. A couple of people I know have recommended that you do about 100 miles and then a zero. I think that makes an awful lot of sense. I've been trying to space, well, mine have been spaced closer together out of necessity and because, but trying to, I think that's a good plan. If you can make 100 miles a week, 6 days, 7 days of 15s, and then a zero. Let your body recover, eat some town food. So that's like once a week. But if I can make 100 miles a week, I'd be very tickled. And so I'm on track to do that this 5th day and tomorrow. So feeling good about that. 100 miles a week is a great goal. Whether it's 7 continuous days or whether it's 6 days and a zero, if you can get somewhere close to 100 miles in that period of time, it's making good time. That'll get me to Katahdin. So from here on out, the tests get harder in some ways. Pennsylvania has the rocks, and New Jersey, I hear, is really nice. It has rocks in the beginning for the first 20-30 miles, and then it has some pretty gentle climbs and really gorgeous scenery. And then you get to New York, and New York has some pretty serious climbs in it. Rocky, steep, maybe scrambling, and then you just follow on up. I think it's New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And so the hard part for me is to keep engaged for each one of those sections. But if you set intermediate goals, intermediate goal, Boiling Springs for a resupply, then Duncannon, and then probably Port Clinton, and then have to figure our way into New Jersey and see what it all looks like. I've been watching people set up while I'm setting up my hammock, and I think my hammock takes a little bit more to set up and tear down, a little bit more time each day, maybe 10 minutes. And I have to be a little bit more picky about campsites. So I wondered a little bit whether maybe I should get a tent and go to ground. The problem is, like in shelters, when I sleep on a sleeping pad, I'm not as comfortable. So I don't know if I got a thicker pad, if it would be better. If I could side sleep on that, I don't know. So I contemplated that, especially in the White Mountains. I think hammocking will be a challenge in the Whites. So we're gonna just have to figure our way through it. It may mean a new sleeping pad and a small one-person tent to get me through there. The other thing that people tell us is when you get to the Whites, to get your winter gear back. So I would get back my 10-degree top quilt and ditch my summer stuff. So that's a ways away. That would be another 500 miles. A little bit more than that, a little more than 500 miles. So getting the cart before the horse, 500 miles, 5-6 weeks. And we'll just see what happens. Okay, day 64 wrap up. Hiked 14.4 miles today to sort of an informal campsite by a stream. Stopped at the general store where they do the ice cream challenge. Didn't do the ice cream challenge, but got a cheeseburger and fries. And there's some trail magic there, so did that, and then basically hiked. It's been pretty gradual trail, but it was warmer today. Seems like my energy ebbs and flows, and by the time I get close to 15 miles, I'm tired. And so cruised in here about 5 o'clock and have been making supper and resting and making plans. Tomorrow we had sort of a conundrum. I have a resupply box at Port Clinton, which is 8 miles in. Excuse me, not Port Clinton, but yeah, I'll think Boiling Springs. From Boiling Springs, there's a section of 17.5 miles where there's no camping. So the choices were either 22.8 miles tomorrow, which to me seems impossible, along with collecting resupply box at the post office, or making other plans. So Creek and I decided to split a hotel room at about 16.5 miles. It's close to Middlesex, Pennsylvania, and it's 5 minutes walking distance from the trail. So that's the plan, to hike into Boiling Springs, select my resupply box, water up for another 8.5 miles across farmland, and stay in a hotel tomorrow night. It's just all the planning that has to go into that, and just looking forward to the days to come and trying to look at the logistics. Logistics are as much a part of this hiking the trail as hiking, although you do have to hike it. It's nice to have things along the way to look forward to, but you still have to hike. And at the end of the day, your feet are tired and you're tired and you got plans to make. Anyway, it's all good. Tonight we were making it with 3 or 4 of us. 2 of the guys decided they're going to do the 22.8 and then do a 12-mile day the next day into Duncannon. I'm going to do 16.5 and then do another, I don't know, it'd probably be another 16.5 to Duncannon, but maybe do another 12 or 13 the next day, and then hike into Duncannon and probably take a 0 day in Duncannon. That'll be probably 8 or 9 days on the trail, over 100 miles, and time for a 0. So that's kind of the wrap-up plans. Nothing really extraordinary along the trail today, just hiking. So hiked a good bit of time by myself, and that's kind of the way it is. You think about all these things, you're trying to make plans and get resupply boxes sent and those kind of things. So taking you along with me.